mean, we've been podcasting for a while, so this is going to be an amazing intro right here.
I know we've been jamming away, and I didn't even hit the record button, and we just been talking for like an hour. So hit that reset and let's do this.
It happens. You have one job.
I know, one job, and I didn't do it, but I mean,
you hit buttons, and that's your job.
I hit the button, and I didn't hit the button, and now I hit the button, and we're recording.
Are we recording? That's a good question.
We are. Technically, it is in record mode.
Okay.
Our one listener will get this episode.
That's good news. So our one listener out there, thank you for your continued support.
Oh, we love it.
And we're going to be talking more Wonder Woman here, George Perez era, 1986, 1987. Technically, the first issue was in 1986, but the cover date was in 1987. So don't think I was wrong last time, but I did clear that up in the show notes.
Shut up.
So we do have a March 87 cover date, which means this might have come out in December. It might have come out in January. I'd have to check that out, but we're on to issue 2.
The dose. And we've got a lot going on. So to continue off our story, so by the end of the first issue, we did actually have a Wonder Woman. Yes.
I think. Was she actually called Wonder Woman yet? I don't think so. No. And
she was not. She was Princess Diana, and she was the protector of
everything.
Of everything.
I mean, yes. The gods, everything, right? Their last hope, they're crumbling. Yeah, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we've got some George Perez cover here.
Whew. There's a lot going on this cover.
This reminds me so much of like his Titans covers that would feature Raven,
mm-hmm.
right? With all the very dark backgrounds and the clouds, but it fits here because it's like smoke billowing from the plane.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't think that at first. It sort of looks like the sky is cloudy, right? But if you get into that, and I think that's one of the things that's brilliant about this cover. On a first glance, you look at it and you think, oh, the sky is cloudy, right? Wonder Woman's flying through these cloudy skies. But then you look at it closer and no, it's the plane billowing smoke that's caused that.
Mm-hmm.
And here she comes to save some guy named Trevor.
Yeah, some dude.
It's always a Trevor.
Always a Trevor.
And a Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, anyway, Trevor, who I'm certainly familiar with, and I'm sure you are as well, but Trevor is... looks like he's about to be eaten by a zombie.
Yeah. Oh man, this is like if I had seen this cover when I was a kid, I would have been hooked. Like, this is some scary stuff going on. Like, what's going on? I want to see what is inside this. Because I mean, face off at 3,000 feet, and there's a zombie in a plane eating this dude's head.
Face off at 30.
30. Oh my God, 30,000 feet.
Yeah.
Messed that up just like the recording of the podcast.
Well, let's.
I'm not good at numbers.
This is Funny Book Forensics.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's go.
All right.
Open the page. We've got a lot going on. There's lots of words. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 panels on this page. Yes. And we are back to the storytelling. It's sort of amazing, too. You think of George Perez being an artist, and obviously he's being scripted here. He has a scripter. He has Greg Potter scripting him. But plotting this out, there is a lot going on. And he has nobody to blame but himself because he has to draw all the things he plots.
All these things. So many panels on this page. This is like so thick, but there's so many dialogue bubbles, or not bubbles, but boxes.
Yeah, and he doesn't seem to take very many pages off. It's... This isn't Todd McFarlane dense writing and then 6 splash pages from the early 90s.
No, and each panel is like, I mean, there's so much art packed into them too, in detail.
And by the way, I really liked that Todd McFarlane art, to be clear, but this is definitely not that.
Yeah.
And so, well, let's jump into this thing. So we've got a narrator in yellow talking about thunderstorms making him nervous. And then it looks like the narrator's going between yellow and blue.
I think so.
Is it the same? Yeah, it's the same narrator. That's a little odd.
I think it's because of the yellow lights flashing up on that panel, so it has to, and kind of block it out for the color.
Okay. So the color. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it's yellow when they're outside. Oh, that's kind of clever, actually.
I
like that.
It's a nifty little trick.
So when they're outside, but when it's contrasted against the fluorescent yellow lights of the building, okay, it's blue. That's kind of nifty. Okay. I mean, by today's standards, today's normal comic standards, that would be hella confusing because so many of those comics have that threaded narrator throughout, right?
Yep.
And they color the boxes based on who the characters are that are talking. But in this case, this was before that was happening. So for the most part, I'm not saying it was never happening, but this was before that. People still thought. And so here he is thinking in squares.
Yep, thinking in squares.
And we find out we've got somebody trying to get onto the base, some Colonel Steve Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's traveling with a woman. Correct? Do we have her name here?
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't see it yet. Okay.
Nope.
It's a mystery, but he is there for a mystery late night. So he heads in, and Colonel Trevor is announced, and he enters the room. And there, Colonel Stephen Trevor is reporting to General Kohler, famous for faucets.
Yes. Yeah, you could find Kohler faucets almost. Oh my gosh, what is going on my computer?
I don't know.
What is happening
on your computer?
I don't know. The computer just started jumping all over the place. Windows popping up everywhere. Oh, okay. Stable. Everything's back to normal. We're good.
Okay. Well, I think General Kohler corrupted your computer.
Yeah, it was a Kohler corruption.
And maybe General Kohler became famous by selling bathroom faucets to the military for $600 or $700 a piece, and then
that is not the American. Yeah, that's not the American standard.
I mean, he does say, "Take this inside. Are your orders and coordinates?" The top brass wants to show off its new modified Phantom, so maybe by top brass he means the top brass and defying Kohler fixtures that he releases to the military.
Oh. There you go.
You had brass no idea where I was going there.
I did not, but brass fixtures are very nice. They're decadent.
Yeah, it's very decadent, so we definitely want that. Well, it looks like Kohler's giving Trevor some orders to fly a Phantom and shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Things people have wanted to say to me a lot.
To you?
Of course.
Oh.
Never
Only
happened.
Occasionally.
Only occasionally.
Nobody says that on this podcast, though.
Of course, because without talking, we have odd, awkward silences like we just did a second ago.
What?
It does happen. Well, we are here, and Stephen Trevor is off. So here we go.
He's on a mission.
He's on a mission from God.
Yep.
Or the gods. So
the gods.
Or a god. Well, we don't know that. Let me not spoil the story. So he's headed off with Captain Slade.
Yeah.
Captain Slade. Okay.
Captain Slade.
Now we got Kohler faucets. Now, if you call somebody like Colonel Slade or Captain Slade in DC Comics, that concerns me.
Why is that?
Well, there's kind of a character named Deathstroke, and his name is
Slade
Wilson. Yeah, so I guess he would be, Colonel, Captain, Sergeant, whatever, Wilson. But interesting choice of the name Slade here, especially with George Perez coming off the Teen Titans run.
A little head nod, maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little head nod. It was a little weird to have a Slade, and of course, then I was like, well, Slade's going to be evil, right? Because Slades are evil in DC Comics.
Foreshadow, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, and now the General Kohler is all mad. They go flying off with the Phantom, with the mysterious Phantom plane, And General Kohler is like, that high and mighty Colonel Trevor, a dove in the nest of hawks. How dare military people look for negotiation and peaceful solution before fighting wars? Oh, General Kohler's doing the bidding of Ares. I got it.
He is working for a god.
Ares, the one god we pronounce correctly until somebody tells us wrong. We're wrong.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've got that one down. So we flip the page and we get the page, and we have a woman riding a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got
such a
Greg
cool
Potter
page.
Script, George Perez co-plotter pencils, and Bruce Patterson on inks, Costanza on letters, Tajana Wood on colors, and Karen Berger editor. Yay, Karen! Yay!
Dude, I had to say, like, I said this page is awesome, but this page is awesome. Mm-hmm. It just looks so good. Like all the that purple and black color, the text of fire in the sky, everything is like, it just looks so rad.
And I like how the title sits away from the page, right? Like it immediately stands out while not taking away from the rest of the page.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do that?
I don't know. It's just like it pops. It's
magic.
It is.
You're George Perez. You're magic.
It is. It's super. It's just rad.
I love all of the dark in this, the cover too, and the weird. I don't want to call them weird, but the pastels in the beginning of the story to clearly show you that something's wrong. Right? We're definitely out, and it also makes the primary colors of Diana the Amazon. That's where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Stand out against those pastels, right?
Oh yeah. No, you could, like, I mean, in any of these books, like the last book we read and this one, and I'm sure moving forward, but you could throw on any 80s rock album and just jam out. Hold on one second. Do you hear that?
Yeah, we have a guest.
We have a guest. It's my grandma. I'll be right back. Killed a wasp.
Good. So,
sorry.
Yeah. Well, now that we're done with that podcasting gold, which was Grandma and the Wasp, which may just get left right in this podcast, or you'll never know what happened because Greg and I are referencing an event you had no idea happened.
Surprise! You're going to cut it out? That was the best part, though.
It's really the best part of the whole podcast so far. So we are now headed, and Princess Diana. Okay, there we go. Looks uneasy. Queen Hippolyte. Still don't
Hippolyte.
know. Both are right. It's just Hippolyte sounds like a cleaner.
Hippolyte. Both are right.
Billy Mays here with Hippolyte.
Billy Mays? He's alive again?
Probably. I mean, this is like, he was alive during this comic.
Yeah, he was alive during this. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. I don't think he was on TV yet.
No.
He was later. This was
much
Ron
later.
Popeil time.
Ron Popeil.
You can make pasta 500 different ways.
You can juice anything in this juicer.
Hey, set it and
forget it.
Yeah. And then the box says on it, "Do not set it and forget it."
And forget it.
Well, let's not forget about what we're talking about today, which are these beautiful comic books. And so
that's right.
See that segue there?
I did.
Was it beautiful? That was a segue.
It was. And
this one listener, this is how we do things on this podcast. I plan things out. I used to plan them out very detailed. And
he did.
And then we just never followed the formats. And so now I just create
What's segues. What's a format?
Well, Greg, a format is a plan that you have when you're discussing things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's one of those things. It's what the professionals do.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what you're saying is when I create format sheets, I'm a professional.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. Okay. Well, we are moving through and we've got some forlorn Amazons, specifically a forlorn queen watching her daughter leave. And now we flip the page to page 6.
Whoa.
You know what's great about this? There are
What's that?
page numbers in this comic.
Yes. This is true. There are.
I just want to toss that out there. There are page numbers.
How many times have you
page numbers? It's really easy to follow something.
Yeah, sometimes I'm reading like new comics and there's no page numbers. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where am I at? What page was that on? There's no page numbers. I had to like write my own numbers down.
You did that on purpose. So now we're looking at. You just wanted that reaction from me right there.
You write in your comics?
Oh my God! You actually read and use your comics? What are you doing?
Why are you touching the paper?
Why are you touching the paper?
I dog ear them too when I want to remember where I was at. What's a bookmark?
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, anyway, we're back, and it looks like somebody's back here. Who's this? I don't see all just female gods here. We've got
all the gods.
Almost not Mercury. Who was the guy last time?
Oh, it's Hermes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got some Hermes action going on. We've got this guy making weapons. Okay.
Yeah.
So Artemis is having her ex-husband make weapons. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Aphrodite speaks true. There's a champion on Earth, so Aphrodite's around. Diana, Princess of the Amazons. What else is going on here? Oh, he's making this thing. Okay, there's something important going on.
Yeah.
He made a giant rope.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the lasso of truth. And I was right. I have forged it from the girdle of Gaia herself.
Oh, wow.
Isn't Gaia like the Earth?
Maybe.
So is it just from the Earth?
He made it of the Earth.
Well, it's shiny.
Yeah.
Golden. And they call it the lasso of truth, which makes me kind of happy. So
yes.
That'll be easy for us to keep track of.
Very true.
And Hermes, right?
Yeah.
Shoots it down, and
I think that's Hermes. No, I don't think that's Hermes.
Hermes. It's a guy. Is it Apollo? No.
I don't know. Somebody might have to chime in on
Wait,
us.
Hermes comes down in a minute.
Yeah, Hermes.
Oh no, that's Artemis. Duh.
Artemis.
That's not a. Man, that's a. I don't even. Okay, we'll get this figured out. All right, we'll figure. So, or we may never figure out. But anyway, Hermes comes down, the messenger of the gods, and tells her, she has a mission, and he can only guide her to her first clue.
A clue?
Yeah, it's Roro. So now, but he gives her the power of flight.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is very like Shazam-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's cool. All right. Probably Captain Marvel was probably a copy of Wonder Woman and Superman, but that's neither here nor there. So gone.
An amalgamation.
Yep. And then they leave, and the Amazons are still here talking. They're all worried. And then we get to, and then after this bright, beautiful stuff happens, we get back to the darkness. Here's Trevor flying in a plane.
Yeah.
And he's moving.
It's just like all dark.
The dark. Yeah. So.
The dark.
I can't even do it.
It's okay.
Shout out.
I can.
Shout out to King Falls AM.
I'm the dark. You're the dirt.
If you've never listened to that podcast, go to the beginning.
It's so good.
Enjoy the whole story. Yeah, they haven't been able to put a lot out lately due to COVID, so you can catch up. And then when they're ready to start releasing a bunch of new ones, you can. But anyway, we're off of advertising for other podcasts and back to Funny Book Forensics.
Funny Book Forensics.
So Steve Trevor's not looking too happy here.
No.
It looks like they put him into a weather pattern.
And that, and I mean, considering the fact, I think he was a little shaken and stirred from previous flights.
And he wasn't super excited about flying into nowhere.
Mm-mm.
And now They're losing altitude, coming back into it. But then there's an echo in Slade's voice as we leave the thing. Gaining altitude, we're coming out of it, says Slade. But we're warned. Like bones rattling within a hollow grave, like the winds which now moan the rotting corpse of this beautiful hilltop. Oh. Okay. Well, what happened?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it used to be the pretty place where all the gods were hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
And now it looks really bad.
It does look bad. It looks like something horrible happened. Like they didn't pay their bills or something.
They didn't pay their light bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, apparently Ares caused all this problem. So here we go.
Ares.
Summarizing.
Yeah.
But it is a beautiful page.
It is.
Of course. Because all of them are beautiful pages.
They are. That was my biggest problem when I was reading this. I was like, I'm just sitting there looking. I'm like, oh man, I got to read, but I also am getting lost in the art.
Yeah,
so much
and
to
there's
look
a
at.
lot of text, and then there's a lot of art. So, and I think always too, I over-index on text, and you over-index on art. And so when there's a lot of text and a lot of art, I think both of our brains malfunction, right? Because now I'm reading too much and not paying attention to the art, and then you're into the art, which I think is a good balance on this. So you can slow me down through the story, but I think we're moving through, and here we go. And she's getting her first clue. She's going to go talk to this person with lots of hair.
Oh, yeah. Lots of hair, bandages.
And it's Harmonia.
Harmonia.
And she wants a clue to the whereabouts of the god of war Ares. So straight up, Diana doesn't really have like the good sort of negotiation skills yet or diplomacy skills that I believe she'll develop much later. But for now, she just asks the question outright. Yeah. Hey, I need help. And she gets a talisman from Harmonia. Yep. And then, okay. And then she moves out forward. All right. And now the Amazons are all going crazy at the bottom of the page.
Oh, man.
To arms. And that's because an airplane's flying down onto their city.
Giant metal bird.
Yeah, it's not so good. And now that giant metal bird has Slade, who's looking a little...
He's not looking too good.
He's looking a little zombie-esque.
Yeah, his eyes are red, and he's getting a little scary looking.
And he's saying Paradise Island must die. So we get the plot kind of figured out here. They had Steve Trevor fly to Paradise Island somehow. And I guess General Kohler must have gotten the location from Ares, right? Figuring this out. So that's what I'd figured out so far when I'd been reading this. Okay. And they drop a bomb.
They sent up a bomb?
Yeah.
Oh, all their bases belong to them.
And I love how she just lassos the bomb and throws it somewhere else.
Whee!
I thought this is hilarious. And there goes the Phantom Jet into the water. And it explodes. It's not looking good for Steve Trevor.
No, not at all. I mean...
And the Amazonians are sitting back. What, by gods, what foul demon could conceive of such power? A power that can burn the sky itself. Were it not for Diana, Paradise would have perished in that awesome fire. So they're still looking, and we're going away. And too, it's interesting because there are a lot of words here, but the story reads so smoothly.
It does.
We're marching through this story. We're on like page 16, and there are some stories it's like difficult for us to get through.
Mm-hmm.
And here we can just summarize it and march through this thing while still enjoying it. So the coloring when she goes underwater,
oh man,
is so cool.
Yeah, I like how it just kind of like mutes out a lot of different stuff, but and it's that tone of like it kind of feels like when you're underwater and you're trying to look without goggles.
Yeah,
everything's kind of just that
cloudy,
yeah, kind of look. And then she gets to, she's down there and hanging out with Ariel and.
Oh, no.
Oh, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Sorry.
She could hang out with Aquaman.
Aquaman. Okay, she's down there hanging out with Aquaman. No, she's not.
Dolphin would have been acceptable. Aquaman would have been. Lori Lamaris would have been acceptable. All of those would have been acceptable answers. Just to be clear.
Jaws?
So she's thinking a lot as she goes down in here.
Yeah.
And thinking this guy must be an emissary of Ares. That plane and everything's disintegrating before her eyes. She finds him. She finds Trevor, and she says, "So this is what man looks like. Strange. His image is noble, like that of the gods themselves. Yet he came to paradise riding within the metal bird's skull. Surely he must be the enemy." So she is locked on the enemy, and she's going to take him to a man's shore. And now we've got a new scene, and we've got General Hillary apparently screaming for Kohler. Where's Kohler? He wants a faucet right now.
I need one. I need a faucet. And I also need one of those urinals, not the one that goes on the wall, but the whole entire floor length model, the one that goes all the way to the floor. You got one?
That's a Kohler special. That is only $100,000 to the military, though, but to the general public, it's about $1,000. So just, kind of keep that in mind.
Yeah, he's not messing around. He wants that floor length model.
And he does identify the woman, I presume, was with Steve Trevor in the car as Lieutenant Candy. So there we go there.
Ah, yes.
And then they open the door. The sergeant opens the door, and Kohler is looking a little melty zombie.
Yeah, he's not looking too good either. No. It looks like a Megadeth cover.
Yeah, it kind of does look like a Megadeth cover.
It totally does. Like when I opened this page and I looked at that bottom panel, I was like, oh my gosh.
I like how the MP is puking in the background too. That's
yeah. Something's not right here. Everybody's in different stages of like, what? And his whole office is just like bombed out, destroyed. So
kind of like it. Yeah. That's what you get when you deal with the god of war.
Yeah. Get destroyed.
Well, we get to the next page, and Steve Trevor is not dealing with the god of war. He's in paradise.
Yeah.
Did he get 2 tickets there?
2 tickets to paradise. Yeah.
You think? Okay. Well, yeah, he had 2 tickets, but he ended up with 2 because the other guy didn't.
The other guy didn't. Maybe I'll get a cheeseburger while he's there.
I like cheeseburgers. Gonna have some this weekend. Okay, so
yeah.
Well, or some weekend in the future.
Any weekend is suitable for a cheeseburger. When you're
listening, one listener. Yeah, best physician's skills. Okay, we're back here. They're healing him. They're putting white salves on him and
okay. All the good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So God's will, I will. Okay. Well, we're getting a lot of discussion here. The Amazonians aren't real happy about this.
Oh no, she saved a male.
Yeah. It's not going well. But then the gods appear. And Athena shows up. And he says, though you and your sisters have not seen me in 3,000 years, Philippus, I have always been with you. And for the faith of your kind has been the gods' ever-present joy. Diana, you are now prepared for your mission. Should you fail, neither God nor Amazon nor even man shall survive. And she has Harmonia's amulet. And now she's been given her mission.
Oh.
I think.
The walking orders.
Yeah. And she's headed to the man's world. And whenever I read that line, all I hear is James Brown in my head.
Oh, man.
So we are off, and hopefully our one listener understands. And if they don't, well, do some research.
There you go.
I can't help you on that one. So we are off, and Hippolyte's crying again, and Wonder Woman is not beamed off, but following Hermes, right?
Yeah, he's guiding the way. He's leading the way through the clouds.
Okay.
One of them
And
is
here we
flying.
go. Yeah, flying with Colonel Trevor, who's looking not so well.
No.
Okay, and we're off, and all of a sudden, they see they're all kind of chatting. That's pretty much they're just chatting.
Yeah, talking about Kohler's demise.
And then all of a sudden, we see it gets really cloudy at the bottom of the screen, though, and it looks like somebody's watching them.
Oh,
Such a cool effect here.
it is pretty cool.
And
Go
then you flip the
fiery
page,
ring.
and we got two mean-looking guys.
Oh man, they look like bad dudes. That guy's hat is so cool.
And we get a comment on the page before. Or a few comments on the same before at the bottom. The mortal they call Kohler served us our cause well. His love of aggression made him a willing pawn in our game. Ha ha. I can just hear them like, evil laughing. Now Kohler is no more. His frail form has been destroyed by his own burning soul. It is unfortunate that the other mortal Slade failed so miserably. Aye, brother Phobos. These guys must be gods or something.
Oh, they must be.
Still, there are 1,000 more whom we can control. Agreed, Demos. Okay, so, our father Ares. These are the sons of Ares. I see. And they're looking to cause mischief. I didn't know Ares had sons, so this is good to learn about.
Ares has some bad dudes for sons.
And this one is looking, one guy's looking kind of just like a big henchman kind of guy with ears.
Yeah.
The other guy has crazy hair and snakes. So I'm not a big fan of all these snakes.
He's got cool boots, though. Look at those boots.
Those are pretty amazing. Those are pretty epic boots.
Yeah. But
and
a lot of snakes.
The art's pretty cool. So, yeah, I mean, this is issue 2, and that's where we end. So reactions so far?
Oh, so far, a great 22-pager of amazing art. Great, yes, dialogue heavy, word heavy, but worth the read because so much good stuff crammed into these 22 pages. It was definitely one of those things where I was reading this and going back and rereading parts of it just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything.
I feel like it's a lot of fun too because we get a lot here. It's not like a traditional Wonder Woman cartoon. Hey, she's just showing up in the man's world to create peace, love, and understanding. There's a clear story thread.
Right.
Why now?
Yeah. Stuff is happening. She's needed.
Stuff's happening. She's needed. And Ares is causing all this trouble, right? Like Ares is destroying the worlds of the gods and of man, right? So clear justification here to move the storytelling along. And I like this retelling. It's not like, I mean, they did have a contest, right? That's still part of it was in the first issue. They still, mourn her leaving, right? Her mother doesn't want her to go. She sort of cheats her way in. All of that part of the mythos stays. Trevor, Steve Trevor's still part of the story, but he clearly is not looking like her love interest, right? He's much older than her.
Yeah.
And
he's definitely, I mean, he's got a little age on her and, maybe, that's going to play into the rest of the storyline here.
Maybe. I don't know, because he's looking almost dead right now. So
I know he's it's looking not so great. And then you read the bottom, next deadly arrival. What does that mean?
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
So we've got issue 3, April cover date April 1987, which is probably January 1987. And the release, and we've got another George Perez cover, and we've got Wonder Woman with light shining on her carrying Steve Trevor down, and we've got the sons of the gods,
sons of the gods,
sons of Ares,
behind her,
and we've got a bunch of confused people wandering around the city looking very confused about what's going on.
Like, oh, why is that lady just like, holding that man flying down into the ground like that? Like,
I love East Coast cities because these folks some of them just look disinterested. Like, is something happening?
Oh, another super person. Great.
Yeah, great.
Oh, well, how many is this week?
Well, we flip the page and we immediately get the credits, by the way. George Perez, plotter and art. Bruce Patterson, inker. John Costanza, letterer. Tajana Wood, colorist. And Karen Berger, kindly editor. And Len Wein has now taken over as scripter. I feel like that's an important development because Len Wein has certainly not been important in comics at all.
No. Never heard of him.
Craig's just like, I'm going to drop that one. So, yeah, I mean, so now I think we get, two. No, nothing against the first scripter. I thought the scripting was going fine. I'm not really sure why we changed scripters here. But I mean, now we get two legends working together on the plot script, which is cool.
Sometimes it's just, things get bunched up at the old comic book factory and got to get pulled away to do something else.
Well, we definitely get right into the story, dialogue heavy again, which we're okay with, but we get a splash page first panel, Hermes taking Wonder Woman into a city. And it is a city with, wow, it's Boston. Okay, they tell us right away.
Ah, they're going to Boston. You see some cash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At least Boston has the right kind of clam chowder.
Yeah, the right kind of clam chowder. Yeah.
So we're here. You can get into all of your like Matt Damon jokes now.
I was gonna say I was more for the Wahlbergs.
Okay, that's fine.
We're gonna go get some Wahlburgers.
God.
Well, I was bringing the burgers back from the last issue right into this issue, and they got good burgers at Wahlburgers.
You're burger threading.
I'm burger threading. Hey, it's a transformer.
Oh, geez. We're going to get fired.
I know we are. I mean, I'm just bringing all those pop culture references. And I mean, Wonder Woman coming into Boston, she's like a new kid on the block. Look what I did there.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Her and Hermes hanging tough. I just can't even believe that.
Yeah, they might even have to go in a new direction.
New direction, but she is a cover girl.
It's fair.
I think she's got the right stuff.
Oh, yeah, and pretty soon
I can go all day.
Pretty soon she'll just be another band out of Boston.
I was just listening to Boston the other day.
Well, I'm sure she has more than a feeling that she's in the right place.
I think you're correct.
Yeah. Oh, so you get all the references, but I do one and you just stonewall me there.
I was agreeing with you.
Well, on the other page, we clearly saw Marianne walk away. So,
yes.
Now we are back into the actual story. Yeah. Even I can't do it anymore. Okay,
what?
So
you can't do what? You're gonna more references?
Boston music references. I'm gonna pause on those for a second.
What? No pops?
Nah, I mean, I was gonna start getting into Stephen Wright references next. So,
oh boy,
we'll get onto those in later issues. We got plenty of Boston here. Boston's gonna stick around. Spoiler: Boston's gonna stick around for a while. So
been around for a long time.
It has. So she's heading through Boston. They're having a discussion about how could this race create such terrible things. They've created some beautiful cities. We've got people walking around. So I love some of the things down here. Bruins game delayed by bomb scare. USSR talks collapse. So I love the hints we're getting about the time period.
Mm-hmm.
Time just has a cover. The Time magazine just says terrorism on it. which is so great.
It works for any time.
It works for any time period. Terrorism, get the terrorists. Yeah, so great. And we've got somebody walking around the old statue. Repent, together we shall fall. What?
Works for any time.
What? I don't get it. Repent, together we shall fall. Like what?
Works for any time.
Is that like their Cobra? As DC Cobra? Is that what's going on there?
Totally.
Or is that like a Brother Blood reference from? Well, anyway. All right, let's keep moving on.
Repentor.
Oh, geez. I don't think they're slaying into G.I. Joe territory. That's why I said DC Cobra, but that's fine. Oh, well, I could explore the Teen Titans mythos, but we're not here for that. So, yeah, they're still chatting about the metal bird coming down, and he says, he's going to set her on her proper path here, which it's okay. So the messenger of the gods is sitting on her path, and now we get flipped back to the Hanscom Air Force Base in Concord, Mass. And they're taking care of Steve Trevor, and there's some people that aren't too happy about what's going on.
Oh, no.
They don't know why he's alive or dead, and they don't know anything about their Phantom jet, and they are not super happy.
Those are expensive planes, man.
Yeah, and he's also wanted for questioning regarding the brutal murder of General Gerald Kohler. So, and his co-pilot, I assume. They don't seem too worried about him, but
the faucets, man, the faucets.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the faucets. Well, you kill a general and get in trouble. If you kill General Fawcett, then you're in real trouble.
Oh, totally.
I mean, totally. Like his washers, just were just used up, and he was just spraying everywhere.
Yep.
And yeah, and it happened. There's a lot of dead zombie goo everywhere, and it just wasn't good last issue. So
no, not good.
So Etta Candy's pushing for some details, telling that Colonel Trevor was ordered to fly that plane. There's claiming there's no record of the orders. Of course, she knows there was orders because she rode in with the car on him in the first day, but she's keeping quiet right now. So she knows he's not guilty. So at least she can't be tricked here. I really don't have much context for her outside of the old Wonder Woman's that I didn't read. So I just know that there's a character named Etta Candy, and I know Etta Candy was in the Wonder Woman mythos. And that's what I know at this moment right now in this book. Okay.
Yep. That's what you know. That's where you're going to go.
But I think it's cool to, again, I'm going to talk about the relaunch here, or I guess reboot. This would not be a retro boot. This would be a reboot of the character. And I like, again, how these characters that were part of the past are being introduced slowly, and you're learning about them, and they're building the characterization. And I also like how the gods characterization is being built. Like we focus on a couple now, like they focus on Athena, they focus on Artemis, they're focusing on Hermes, right?
Yeah.
And Ares. So slowly we're being introduced to characters, and they seem to have personalities, which is good in writing, I would assume.
Oh yeah. It draws you in as a reader. You're like, you start to get invested, like, oh, hey, who's this? Why are they doing that? Oh, that makes sense. Oh, wow, I want to find out more about this. And then because it's based in real mythology, you want to read more about that and find out more information, find out how bad these baddies are.
Well, Hermes hands her mad harmonious talisman and basically says, hey, the fate of everybody rests in your hands. Go figure out the mystery.
Deuces them out.
Yeah, exactly. And now we have, we have what the world looked like before the internet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. A giant library. Dan, you remember going to the library?
I do remember going to the library.
You remember when we used to go hang out at the library, in the big libraries?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I miss that. The smell of books.
Remember when I spent an entire winter break at the University of Washington researching manatees?
Yes, I remember going with you to the University of Washington library a couple times. Oh, the days.
All of them. right? Like I went to the oceanography library and the ocean engineering library. I mean, they had libraries for libraries, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
we walked so much.
yes. And so, and I'm sure it was fun. I'm sure it was invigorating.
I learned a lot.
I was having fun. Anyway,
I
well,
carried a lot of paperwork.
it's like
It was like for the listeners. So if you don't recall, why we call this funny book forensics is Dan and I used to debate in high school and college, and when we were going to school, there wasn't the internet, and you had to make photocopies of everything. So if Dan wanted all this information, he had to photocopy it. And me being his like helper monkey back then, because I was the underclassman, going around hanging out with Dan and wanting to hang out and learn all this cool stuff so that I could be a better debater, I carried tons of stuff.
yeah.
I'm
There's a lot of
surprised.
paper.
I'm surprised I'm not so strong.
Well, debate doesn't really make you that strong, unfortunately.
No, mentally strong I am.
Yes.
No, that's debatable.
Well, we're here and we've got a very professorly looking person
Mm-hmm.
and a clearly grad student looking person here.
Oh, yes.
One carrying the books and one organizing them and looking at them.
I love his like the panel with just his head floating there.
Yeah.
It's such a good like like his facial expression. I'm working for you, remember?
Yep. And that's a very I've felt that way working on advanced degrees before. Wondering if the person actually cared what I was working on. And so here we go. And Professor, what's her name? Capitellus. All right, is up, and Capitellus is falling.
No.
And fortunately, I see an eye and a star, half of a star, and a no. And it looks like Diana catches. She steals her. She catches her, and they introduce, and now there's some confusion because Capitellus is like thinks she's part of the Founders Day celebration.
Oh no.
And
okay, hold on a second. I have to read this in the way that I read this in my head.
Okay.
Are you well, sister? Your world and I have need of you.
Oh, is that what a mix of Greek sounds like the Macho Man to you?
So, that's how when I read that panel, that's how it came out.
Also, not from Boston.
Not from Boston.
Okay, well, that's Boston Market. That's gone away, hasn't it?
I think there are some locations still operating in some markets. Okay. Some markets are in some markets.
There is a Boston Market. Okay, well, anyway, now they're trying to talk to each other, and she doesn't quite understand, but she's picking up some of the Greek, so that's good. And then
it's great to me.
The talisman comes out, the Mad Harmonia's talisman. Yes, you can get an appliance here, there, and everywhere. That's right. These washing machines right here at Mad Harmonia's for $4.99.
$4.99?
It's madness.
Are you out of your mind?
I'm out of my mind right now.
Whoa. He's slashing prices.
It's slashing prices, and that's where this talisman is going to do something here. I see something happening. Oh no, it's slashing reality. And
it's such a great panel.
Yeah, and Diana just goes, "Great Hera."
Like oh no, what have I done?
Well, we get a lot. So images flash through her mind like Quicksilver. That's what's happening on the next page. Oh my God, this page. Okay.
This is a trip.
I could look at it forever trying to figure out. Yeah, maybe we need some psychedelic substances to read this page.
I mean, we are recording on a day.
This was in the 80s too, so maybe a lot of cocaine.
Whoa, man.
And it goes really fast. So we see churning seas, whispered voices, and a golden kiss. So here are our clues. Okay, images flash through her mind like Quicksilver. Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know Quicksilver was here, but okay. Images of hungry churning seas and magnificent warrior women. Okay, so there's the Amazons. Of whispered voices and a golden kiss. And yet, despite the turmoil, there is hope and a sense of belonging. This tumbles through the mind of Julia Capitelis in less than an instant. I wish they would call her Dr. Capitelis.
Yes.
Okay.
She's earned that title. She is a doctor.
That's right. I'm the only doctor that doesn't tell people to call me doctor, so.
It's true.
Okay. So, I shouldn't say the only one, but, unlimited. So, a stirring pride of purpose, unlike anything she has felt before, and then a wink and it's gone.
All this and one thing more.
Yeah, so now they're starting to understand each other, and they start speaking in Greek about this amulet. And they finally introduce each other, and starting to talk, and it's Diana. So I have a feeling Capitelis is going to take Diana somewhere, not in the library.
Someplace a little less library.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, I guess they could just keep hanging out in the library. They are researchers, after all.
Yeah. Makes sense. Totally.
Is there like an airplane flying over your house, or is that here?
No, it's yard work being done by my neighbor.
Oh, that's good. It's good timing on their part.
Yeah,
always.
It's a nice day.
Tuesday afternoon. Yeah.
They're doing that yard work.
All right. Well, we're going to yard work our way right over to the next page. And we've got, is this one, which one is this again? Phobos or Deimos?
Deimos? Phobos?
We got the one that looks like a henchman with the big
Somewhere
ears.
Amongst the deepest, darkest immortal mind can conceive.
This is his brother is Deimos. Yeah, Deimos has the snakes. So this is Phobos. Okay.
Yes, Phobos.
Okay. So Phobos is here, and we must crush the accursed Amazon now before she can become an annoyance. Okay. Oh. And my wily brother Deimos would take time to plan, but Phobos doesn't need planning.
No.
All right.
He just does what he wants.
Well, here we go. He's gonna do something. This is kind of cool. So yeah,
he's going on a walk into like a giant thing.
Ancient and evil in the Gorgon's heart, the stuff of writhing nightmares, and yet it is mine to control with impunity. To shape it my most causal or casual.
Casual?
I guess casual whim. Okay. Into the object of the Amazon's destruction. There it is done. Watch your wicked wiles against this, brother Deimos, if you can. Okay. There was no ha on the page.
No, there wasn't. I giggled with him.
And then Deimos is hosting I don't know. Deimos is hosting a motivational speakers convention here. They're all gathering at his house for the hours upon us. Okay, he's very inspirational. He looks inspirational.
He's it's not a motivational thing. It's more of an Amway meeting. He's gonna get them all to it's a pyramid scheme. So
I see. I mean, it does sort of make sense. Like he has a lot of snakes to share. So maybe once you have one snake, you need a lot of snakes.
And each one of them is a business owner. They get a really cool proprietary business model that they can share with a friend or a family member, and then they can come underneath them, and then they can all share in the wealth together as they build and grow under him.
Well, he tells them that it's time to strike.
Oh, yeah.
He has cobras. And he says, for years, we have watched helplessly as this great nation has been overrun by imbeciles. By those who do not love this country as we do, by those who seek to subvert all that we believe. If this nation is to be strong, we must be strong enough to crush those who would defy us. We must build a wall.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry. Nothing must be permitted to interfere with our plan to protect our country. We must build a wall.
This sounds so familiar.
Power. It sounds so familiar.
Wow. Taken from the pages of DC.
Yeah. Go now, my children, and do what must be done. Make them fear us, for their fear shall give you strength. All right. Yeah, I was definitely afraid during 2016 to 2020 at times. So
yeah. Same.
Sometimes I'm afraid now.
Yeah.
For those of you that aren't aware, I live relatively close to a large army base. And one day, about halfway through the Trump presidency, all the sirens at the base started going off.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And that was terrifying.
Was that the day that they scrambled the jets and they flew off? Because it
was a different day, but they were doing an exercise that day. But it was right after like one of the China Trump stare downs, basically.
Okay, because I remember when they did scramble the jets, and like all of a sudden I hear fa-foom, fa-foom, and I look out the window and I see like basically like a squadron, like what looks like just like dots just going off into the distance, and I'm like, yeah, that was jets from the base.
Yeah, and you're gonna hear that piece, right? I'm only gonna hear them taking off, but I'm not gonna hear them going sonic. So
yeah, because by the time they hit my house, they've hit sonic speeds.
Right. So you're hearing the So yeah, it was interesting. So well, anyway, back out of this is pretty terrifying. There are just all these people here looking up at Demos.
Yeah.
And ready to do whatever he wants, apparently.
They're ready to go. But then we get the next panel, which is Boston at rush hour, which is locked in. It's a parking lot.
Which means you're not going anywhere.
You're going nowhere fast. That's right.
And I love it. Diana's like, such noise.
Why?
How can people live like this? Many of a day I sat in traffic thinking this. Yes.
You're like, oh. And the good doctor, she's like, it's a common occurrence. You'll get used to it.
Yeah, you'll get used to it. That's why she's thinking too. That's why I stay in my library all the time. Like, I've got this beautiful library. Why do I need to go home? Well, we're back to Hanscom Air Force Base, and Colonel Trevor is waking up, and of course they're interrogating him about what happened. And he's like, I remember some images. This woman flew me out of the water, and that was cool.
Yeah.
And they're trying to figure out what's going on with him, and
you're delusional.
Yeah. And then apparently he sees her fill a syringe full of air to give him an embolism and starts beating up the nurse. And then he gets punched out by whoever was interrogating him. And then they're beating him up, and he's pretty spry for a guy that almost died. So he's like beating up the MP. He beat up the people. He's running out. This is just like 28 days later, right? Like he's just headed out. Okay. And
he's like, boom, boom, boom. Run down. That's a cool checkerboard floor. I wonder if those tiles are asbestos.
Probably. So now he shoots somebody else. Or no, he doesn't. Sorry.
Someone else.
Colonel, somebody. Oh, the bad guys shoot the bad guys.
Or the bad guys shoot the MP because no one can interfere.
Right. Got it. That's right, because they serve Ares. And they were just in Demos's audience. Sorry, we just saw them. They were literally just in Demos's audience like 2 pages ago. I got this. They were right there. Okay.
Well, because I mean, they could bring the MP in, but see, they already got enough people under them right now and it would just be one more slot, and they just don't have the paperwork for him to fill out to join their MLP. Or MLP. That's My Little Pony. No, I don't know.
It works.
Yeah.
So, well, now we're in Beacon Hill, where all the poor people live in Boston. Sarcasm.
Yes.
Yeah. Sarcasm works really well on podcasts.
Do you think that's where the Wahlbergs live?
I don't know. I remember a Casey Kasem story about the Wahlbergs.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
About their cool basketball hoop in their backyard?
No, it was something about goats and mowing the lawn.
What?
I'm not joking.
They had goats mowing their lawn? That sounds wild.
Apparently, yeah.
That sounds wild.
This is Casey Kasem. I can't do Casey Kasem right now.
Hey kids, this is Casey Kasem, and I'm coming with you. I'm coming right at you. See that? Then I turned into Macho Man.
How'd you turn Casey Kasem into Macho Man? That's fantastic.
I don't know. This is Casey Kasem.
Kind of like it, yeah. And
I was
and
going in.
and the Wahlbergs.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Now, see, then it turns into Ronald Reagan. I can't do it. I gotta.
Well, we're at the Capitelis residence, and we've got a teenage girl.
She's like, "What is this?" She's getting a delivery.
Yeah, and she opened a doll.
Oh, cool.
So she opened her mom's packages, which is not legal, folks. We don't recommend you opening packages addressed to other people.
Well, it's a package addressed to Capitelis, and she's a Capitelis, so why not?
Right. That'll hold up in court.
What's the difference between a first name and between friends?
Well, she's holding that weird doll that we saw earlier, and we're flipping the page. And
it's the ugliest doll she's ever seen.
Now we're in Etta Candy's apartment, and Etta Candy's, talking about the security, and Trevor couldn't do things, and they're his friend, and she's talking, and then all of a sudden Steve Trevor ambushes her. But
surprise!
That's okay, because they're talking. He's explaining that people are trying to kill him, and he looks pretty old and scared.
He does.
And now we get some more Demos talking to people again, and now he's talking to Russians. How does he? Man, Demos gets around.
He does.
Does he have a jet or something?
He's got jet? To. He's got to have. He's got to have a jet or a wormhole or some sort of portal thing.
And it sounds familiar. For years, we have watched helplessly as this great nation has been overrun by imbeciles. He just tells them the same thing.
Oh man, his speechwriter needs to change it up a bit.
Yeah, well, he did it once in Russian and once in English, right? It seems like demagogues show up and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a hint. We're going to run into another one in issue 8-ish. So.
Spoiler. Gee, I haven't got there yet.
Well, you should read faster. So
I will.
Issue 8 has a lot of text, by the way. You're going to be so thrilled.
Oh, I'm excited.
Okay. So, prose-esque text.
Prozac text. Okay, cool.
Prozac, yeah. Prozac. It's the instructions for Prozac on the side of the bottle.
Oh, man.
18 straight pages.
Sweet.
And the ingredients.
Ooh, excellent.
So, folks, if you thought we were pronouncing things wrong now,
just wait.
Issue, it's going to be fantastic.
I'm going to need to I'll just type it all in and just let the word reader thing just read them all off.
Well, the young Capitelis loves Diana's costume, thinks it's a Founders Day celebration, and Diana looks at her and thinks she's young and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, young Capitelis is jealous because she's ignoring everything and running up the stairs and pouting for some reason. So I didn't know when people walked into your house, you ran away and pouted.
Shy kids do that, Dan. I did.
Yes. Okay, that's fair. I don't think you pouted over this, though. Yeah, Brian, I know we were supposed to study together, and I'm sorry, but the algebra test isn't Friday. Or is until Friday, so we can do it tomorrow. Yeah, I want to see you too, but my mom is on a rampage. And I've got this awesome headache, and we've got this sick aunt visiting. And then she thinks, and the last thing I want is for my boyfriend to meet a fox like her.
It's true.
The story was going so well, and I just could have done without this.
But Bruce is back.
Yeah, that is true. We got a Bruce Springsteen and no trespass violators will be skinned sign. So that's cool. Okay,
that's rough.
Yeah, it must be rough to live with your rich mom that works at Harvard and worry about boys. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not enjoying that character so far. But anyway, that's okay.
It's okay.
Can't hit it all.
Yeah.
You need annoying bad characters too, I guess.
Annoying children.
Yep. So they So we got Capitellus, Dr. Capitellus, and our professor. We don't know she's a doctor. She may not be a doctor. We don't know that for sure.
That's true.
Are working, and Diana are working, and we've got young Capitellus. What was her name again? Vanessa, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Vanessa.
Yep, sleeping downstairs with her mouth hanging open. Apparently, she did decide to come back out of her room, and the weird-looking doll thing opens its eyes.
Oh man!
And she starts screaming, and this wakes everybody up. And then they start running down the stairs, and the stairs collapse. This is not looking good for everybody.
Not at all.
And we get a scracked, which I love sound effects.
Yes.
And what do we want here? What do you want here? Okay, who are you? We get that. So now we get Capitellus sounding like me whenever a telemarketer calls. Like, who the fuck? Who are you? And what do you want?
No, you never answer yes or no telemarketers, just in case they're recording you. You never answer your name or yes or no.
Well, and actually, my line now is just identify yourself and your company.
Ah, that's good.
They don't like me. I get hung up on a lot. And I'm like,
I just talk in Japanese, and then they hang up on me.
Nah, that could be.
So.
Well,
it's true.
We flip the page and we get a splash, and Vanessa's not looking so good down in the corner.
Oh no, she's not.
She does have a collection of leggings, though. She went from white leggings earlier to these red star ones or whatever.
Those are pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah, she's not looking so good, and we get a pronouncement because we have a new villain. And she said, "Indeed not, for nothing upon this pitiful plane can match my hideous beauty." Ha ha. These, sometimes with these lines, Len, Wein, thank you, but you need to get the ha-ha-has in here because there's just a lot here. To answer who I am, Professor Capitellus, I'm called Decay. For what I am your death.
Oh.
And we get in the corner, help me, mommy.
Oh, man. Some scary stuff.
We turn the page and Decay decays things. So the house starts falling down.
Just like that.
And we get the start of a horror story, a long day journey into fright. Join us, won't you?
She's old and ugly. What's wrong with her?
And that is the end of Wonder Woman issue number 3. Do you want to go for 4, or do we want to leave the listeners right here? I think it might not be a bad idea to leave our listeners right here, anticipating a 4.
We could leave them right here. Just leave them right here.
Okay.
Anticipation.
We're going to sign off on this episode of Funny Book Forensics then. We just covered Wonder Woman issue 2 and 3. But join us back, we'll say next week, but we have a couple of special things coming down the pike, so we're going to keep reviewing Wonder Woman. We're also going to have John from the Mothership join us.
John from the Mothership?
Yep. And
he's coming to talk to us?
Yeah, he's coming to talk to us.
No way.
Now, I don't know why. I mean,
did we do something wrong?
That's a good question. I mean, if I had the Mothership, would I show up here? Nah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, John from the Mothership is going to join us, and we're going to review Adventure Comics 352 and 353 in honor of their recent interview series with Jim Shooter. So hopefully those things will come out. So we're going to look at what Jim Shooter was writing when he was like 14.
Very cool.
14 years old, which, yeah, I think is really cool. So I'm interested to hear what he has to say. So that may interrupt our Wonder Woman run briefly, but we'll get right back to Wonder Woman if we haven't left there. So we'll keep moving through. So we didn't want to miss out on that great interview with somebody who's been a writer, has been an editor, and has also been the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics and Valiant at times in his career. So, and of course, he wrote Legion of Superhero stories, which makes him,
instant
Jim Shooter.
Yeah, instant Dan. Like Dan's a fan.
There was the Jim Shooter stories in the Adventure Comics Silver Age, and then there was the Jim Shooter stories at the end of the 3-boot Legion run in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And so there there were the original nostalgia stories in the Silver Age, and then there were the stories we got later.
Yeah.
And so we're going to say that I clearly liked some of them, and then there were some others that maybe I wasn't a big fan of. But he also wrote some stories in the 70s as well, coming back to DC from Marvel. He kind of bounced back and forth, or from college actually. So he actually tried to leave the industry, and then he came back, and then ended up, of course, going back to Marvel and becoming the editor-in-chief for a while, and did some really cool things as editor-in-chief. I think people forget some of the things that were going on. And a lot of people focus on, what was that? What were those comics? The New Era or something like that in the 80s. What were those?
Oh, yeah.
New that line that failed. I'm totally drawing a blank on it. But anyway, we'll get into that in our shooter episode. So we won't focus on that here. But yeah, just wanted to give everybody a heads up on what's coming up soon on the podcast, and hang with us, and we'll get into a lot more of this. But for now, let's go ahead and sign off.
All right. See you next time.